could.
Well, it is 7:01, so I guess I'll call the meeting to order and we'll start without Trustee Raymond. Hopefully he'll be able to connect at some point. If anybody has the invitation on your phone that you could forward to his
I'll do it.
other email address, that might be helpful.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, the first order of business is the pledge to the flag, so I will mute everyone and ask everyone to join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting tonight. We have 7 attendees. We're currently missing one trustee. Hopefully, Trustee Raymond will join us momentarily. Glad everybody could make it tonight. Nice to see you, or see your names anyway. First order of business is the minutes of our last meeting, which was July 27th. Nope. Today's July 27th. That should be minutes of July 13th on the agenda. Were there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Hearing none, could I have a motion that they be approved as submitted? Oh, you're all still muted. I'm sorry. I didn't unmute everybody after the pledge. Now you're unmuted, and there's Trustee Raymond. Nice to see you. All right, so we're talking about the minutes of July 13th. And I asked if there were any corrections or additions to those minutes. Nobody said anything.
Well, we sent some in, but they were not accepted, so they weren't taken, so. Yes. We can.
The changes were not accepted because, as I explained, I can't change them at the request of a trustee. It has to be done by a board vote. I follow NICOM's rules,
Mhm,
so I can't just change them because you asked.
mhm.
That's not the way we've been doing it in the past. Usually someone would send in a correction or an addition and
Yeah, a typo or something like that, yeah. But you're
No,
asking me to,
Terry, is that guidance for amendments to minutes, like after they're
Yeah.
approved? Or is that any kind of, or changes, edits to minutes even before they're approved?
my understanding before.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I called NICOM, I spoke to their attorneys as well to make sure that I was correct.
So we can't, so trustees cannot suggest substantive changes to minutes after you have.
You can at a board meeting, by a board vote, yes, but not before.
That doesn't make any sense to me, why we would need a board vote to give you feedback on draft minutes. So we can take it up later, but I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense, Terry.
Yeah, I believe.
I don't know what question was put to the people at NICOM, but that literally doesn't make any sense.
I believe that if people suggest corrections to the clerk in advance of the meeting, she's able to check those suggestions against her recording and make changes as she feels appropriate. Correct, Terry?
I could do that, yes.
Okay.
Correct. I believe. Well, no, I'm not sure because, again, from what NICOM says and what John Mancini told me, I am not to change minutes at the suggestion of a trustee.
But the minutes aren't approved yet. The minutes actually don't exist.
Correct.
yeah. In past practice, we all sent in small changes, clarifications, and they were accepted. You know, as long as they matched
I
up
don't
to the
mean to be
recording.
sort of sharp about this, Terry, but like what you're saying literally doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
Stephanie, do you know anything?
I know the legal requirements for your minutes are to reflect appropriately the motions and the votes that are taken, and that's kind of the legal requirement. That's all that is required to do. In most cases, however, most boards that I've seen give a summary so that people who weren't at the meeting can follow what actually happened, as opposed to just seeing a reflection of this. I actually listened to Wade speak about this specific subject about the legal requirements at the last NICOM meeting that we attended. And he said kind of the bare bones are just motions and votes. And he actually recommended that you not do verbatim, although some people did. And there was a little back and forth about whether that was required or not required. And one spoke specifically about her board had directed her to do and was requiring her to do in terms of providing verbatim. And that's
That's a full-time job right there,
Yeah.
especially with these meetings, yeah.
Well, I don't think anybody's suggesting
Respectfully,
that.
Stephanie, that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about the question of whether we like this is a transcript or a summary or only, you know, motions. We're just talking about whether during the course of the generation of whatever the minutes are going to be, trustees can suggest corrections.
And I believe they can, and I believe they should continue to do that. And the clerk will check those suggestions against her recording and determine whether the changes requested accurately reflect the meeting or not.
That's
That's my understanding of what should be happening.
Mhm,
That makes perfect sense.
mhm. Speaking of which, I'm sorry, the recording, how do you get the recordings? Are they on the website?
I don't know.
Okay.
I've been trying to figure it
They
out.
are- The
I know-
governor's order was quite explicit in requiring recordings, and frankly, they also require a transcript,
Well,
which, you know, is another pain
Can
to
of worms.
produce.
Well,
but-
but the Zoom, my understanding is the Zoom software can generate a transcript from the recording anytime we want.
oh,
Oh, really?
Okay.
I think I tried
good.
to do that and was not able to, but it could be my inexperience with Zoom as well.
mhm.
But I am trying to figure out how to share those recordings, and I have not been able to figure that out at this point.
Uh-huh.
Okay, can we move along with the minutes here? Could I have a motion that the minutes be approved as submitted?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Motion by trustee Fitzpatrick. Is there a second? Well, I guess the two male trustees can't second it, so I guess I will second it because they weren't here at that meeting.
Sorry, I forgot that they weren't there. Actually, Sean is still muted. Does he know that?
He seems to.
Oops, now I do.
Just-
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. That brings us to mayor announcements. I only have a few things tonight. First of all, Deputy Treasurer Smith told me this afternoon that the closing numbers are now available for the month of June for our budget for the first month of the current fiscal year. And so I will ask her to send those out to the board tomorrow, please. So you should get those tomorrow. And from now on, it's my goal to have the closing numbers of each month before the end of the following month.
Will
Second,
those be emailed or in our box?
I can email them out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
second, we have a resignation of Mike Healy from the library board. I'll be appointing his replacement later tonight under other business, as the board knows. I spoke with the village justice this afternoon about the status of the village court, and he tells me that the current plan is for them to reopen on August 17th. So we look forward to having the court back in operation. And finally, our next meeting is August 10th. So that means the agenda will go out on August 6th. And the current executive order allowing remote meetings expires August 5th. So if the governor is going to take action on that, he should do it by August 5th. And I should know when the agenda goes out for the next meeting, whether we will continue to meet on Zoom or whether we'll be meeting in person. So I will put that on the agenda before it goes out, and I'll ask the clerk to post it on Facebook and the webpage. And that's it for announcements. Under old business, Trustee Raymond was going to give us some thoughts and updates on the traffic situation at our last meeting, and we postponed that to tonight. So I'll turn the floor over to Trustee Raymond.
Okay, so from my recollection from a few meetings ago, a couple of meetings ago, there was discussion on whether or not to try to develop some sort of additional warning signage for trucks to alleviate some of the truck traffic along Hyde, and also some of the other surface streets that are off of Hyde. And basically, you know, the reason for that being that trucks may not be aware of the low bridge on Malta Ave and then have to seek an alternate route once they go down Malta. So the thought process was that if we had a warning sign somewhere up on Malta, probably in the vicinity of Chapman, and then, you know, a low bridge warning sign, and perhaps with some beacons that might catch their attention. Also, we could also do that on Hyde, you know, out near, was it Eastern or East High Street? They range, depending on what you do, between $3,000 and $6,000, and installation might be extra if you run into some snags. So my thought process on that before we pull the trigger on that kind of expense, because it would certainly require a little bit of engineering design to put them in and locate utilities, and they could be solar, so we don't have to worry about you know, power hookup. But my thoughts on that are, before we go and spend that kind of money, we really should get some hard data on actually how many tractor trailers are using those streets as an alternate before, you know, we go and spend money that, you know, frankly, if there isn't a problem, we shouldn't be spending it. I mean, I know there's anecdotal information regarding it, and people have you know, obviously complained, but you know, we should get some definitive data, and we could do that through tube counts on Hyde and some other locations, and just get an idea of actually how many trucks, you know, in a 2-week period use those roadways before we move forward with any kind of improvement treatments. So.
What would be the, how would we get the data, Sean?
Well, you could have our engineering firm. I know they have a traffic division. I'm sure they could have someone go out and put tubes out and collect data. I know that's supposedly part of the program for the linkage study as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. I actually talked to Sean asking, you know, about tube counters, and neither the town of Ballston.
I don't
Traffic tube counters, they are devices for counting the number and type of vehicles going
To
on.
go
the street.
across the road, right?
The tubes
Go
across the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever
Never
see rubber
driven
tubes
over.
across the road?
Whenever
As
there's new
part of the
development,
grant,
you'll know because there's a tube across the road, and as you drive by it, there's a mechanism that counts both the speed, usually between two tubes, and the weight.
Yeah. So anyways, the CDTC grant, the project director asked me if we had any tube counters, because part of the grant, which I think you did see, the request for information that's going out to consultants, has in it doing traffic counts. And I believe Hyde will be included in that. And so far, neither Milton nor Ballston has one of these devices, but the county does have one. So we're hoping to get it from the county, and then the analysis will be done probably this fall sometime by whichever firm is selected to work on the grant. So that would mean no additional cost for us.
Good.
So I think we can wait, hopefully for that data.
So these counts for these signs, these are for truck traffic only. This is not to see how fast people are going, because there's really
You can get everything.
you can get
want.
everything in, okay, all right.
Yeah.
But you're,
You can get speed, class, volume of vehicles, everything.
okay, all right.
It'll give us a very good picture of the traffic on a couple of village roads.
Okay,
DOT has it for Route 50, but we don't have it for our local roads.
All right, so does that sound like a plan then? We proceed with the counts in association with the CDTC grant in the fall, and then revisit the thing once we've got some data?
I think that's the best course of action.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I the only addition that I would make is just, it would be good. I worry sometimes that these conversations like happen in these meetings and never actually make their way outside because there aren't that many people attending anymore. I mean, I know there are a lot of people on Hyde Boulevard who are interested in this. If this is going to be the plan, we should communicate to them what the plan is. And, it's probably not going to be as quick and fast and kind of decisive as they want, but we should at least tell them sort of, here's the time frame for what we're going to do. Here's the plan for what it might result in. And here's a reasonable expectation for, an outcome within a period of time. Otherwise, it'll be as if we didn't actually do anything at all.
mm-hmm. Good point.
Mhm.
Larry, are you
Yeah.
sending out one of your letters with the,
It's already gone out.
okay, all right.
Yeah, they went to the printer last week, or maybe the week before. They're all becoming a blur right now.
Oh, okay, all right.
But yeah,
you
no, it's already
included
gone.
a letter? You included a letter from you with the water bill?
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
but we can put something on the website and the Facebook page.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
social media is fine. It would get around quickly. It's just a matter of letting people know what the plan is.
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to tell you too, in terms of, we had been talking, and we did a count on Chapman, Hyde, and in Heritage, on those 3 streets, there's a total of 20 children.
All right, anything else, Trustee Raymond?
Not regarding traffic. I do know that there was, last week I missed a discussion on the new zoning committee. And I was just wondering, is this committee in addition to the normal zoning committee that takes applications for variances and things like that?
Yes, it's an ad hoc committee that reports to me.
Okay,
Yep. Purely
I just wanted to
advisory
make
to the mayor.
understood.
Okay, moving along then to new business. The first item, I do have a minor correction. Please insert the word water in the second line between new and customers. So we are amending the fee schedule to add a connection charge for new water customers in the amount of $250 for a standard 3/4 inch connection and $350 for an upgrade to the 1 inch connection. With that change in language, could I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Shaw. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Fitzpatrick. I know it's not trustee Raymond.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Any
not
discussion?
trustee Raymond either, so.
Yeah, I'd like to ask, is that just the meaning of new water customers? So a new build, it wouldn't cover replacement? You know, your water meter breaks and you have to pay for a new one.
Correct. We discussed that issue at some length back a while ago. And I believe
Yeah, I
it
don't
was
remember
our
it.
intention at that time to continue to replace water meters until we had all the old broken ones replaced and up and working. And at that point, we were going to revisit the possible fee for a replacement water meter.
So,
So this applies only
Which
to
is-
new customers, that is people who do not have a water meter and are not getting water from the village currently. They
okay.
want water
Do
from
we
the village, they want a water meter, and that's our cost of providing one to them.
So that's not going to be very many water meters.
Correct.
Is there any, do we have any intention to now start charging for if my water meter breaks next week and I need a new one, then the village just provides it?
Yep, that's what we currently do. We have about 100 accounts that we're still trying to clear. I'm hoping to get those done very quickly here. And once those are done and everybody's up to speed and up to date on their service, then I think we should revisit this question. That's what we had
Okay.
said last time we discussed it anyway.
Yeah, I seem to remember that we were going to revisit replacement meters.
Yeah, we had 300 accounts that had to be straightened out. We've done 200 of them so far. We've got about 100 left. So as soon as we
Okay.
finish those 100, then we'll be ready for that discussion. Any other discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. The next motion is to approve my appointment of Joshua Sepkowski as a full-time mechanic in the Department of Public Works. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Raymond. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Shaw. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. That motion carries. Could I have a motion to approve the appointment of Cody Fabian as a full-time police officer to replace Tom McDonough, who retired last week?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Shaw. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second. Oh, sorry.
Second by trustee Cormos. Any discussion?
I didn't open my mouse.
I think it was Sean and I said it at the same time.
Okay, trustee Fitzpatrick made the second.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Could I have a motion to approve the appointment of Tom McDonough to fill the part-time position in the police department that was created by the resignation of Timothy Hayek?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Shaw. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Trustee Cormos made that second. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, nay. Motion carries. And could I have a motion to approve the 4 budget transfers for the fiscal 2021 budget year?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Raymond. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Fitzpatrick. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, nay. That motion carries. That brings us to the consent agenda for fiscal 2021 expenditures. I would note one correction on this to the third item, the last item in the list. The two budget codes to be charged for this should be A8340.2 and A8310.2. So that make an adjustment on the last number in that second budget code. Does any trustee wish any item removed from the consent agenda before we vote it? Hearing none, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by trustee Fitzpatrick. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Cormos. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. That brings us to liaison reports. Any trustee have a report to deliver to the board tonight?
The Park and Tree Board met last week. We're working on a educational piece for residents, property owners about trees and about responsibilities and what you are allowed to do, not allowed to do vis-a-vis trees. Unfortunately, our timing is not great because we're almost done with it, and we'd hope maybe it could go out with a mailing such as the water bill, but I think we're too late for that. But we will make it available for the website and for Facebook, and then we're also talking about maybe doing some sort of educational sessions so that people understand what the rules are in regards to that they can't take down public trees or, you know, severely prune them, but they are required to keep them above, you know, at a 10-foot height so that people can walk underneath those trees when traveling sidewalks and not be obstructed, you know, by vegetation. So just a, you know, FYI for residents.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to other business. I have one item of other business. As the board knows, I am appointing Meredith Tower to the library board to fill the remaining term of Mike Healy, and that term will expire in 2023. Could I have a motion to ratify that appointment?
I'll make the motion to ratify that appointment.
Thank you. Motion by trustee Fitzpatrick. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Shaw. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Is there any other business to come before the board tonight?
Yes, the Park and Tree Board received a request from the owner of 11 Pleasant Street to remove the street tree in front of their home. That tree had lost a major branch during a storm that impacted his home and his yard, and he'd like to remove it. We had Christopher Williams from Cornell Cooperative, who's on the committee, and Stacy Simmons, who is president of the Park and Tree Board, look at the tree. Although it's still alive, they feel it's greatly weakened. It's impacting on the street, raising up the sidewalk, and they agree it should be removed. So I believe that any recommendations from the Park and Tree Board have to have the village board, you know, approve whatever we're doing to village trees. So if he plans on having a licensed arborist come in and remove the tree. So I don't know if that needs to be made a motion or how we.
Is he planning to replace the tree as well?
We are suggesting that he replace the tree. I don't know if you want to make that a requirement. It would be more suitable. There's very little space between the sidewalk and the street, and it would be more suitable for a smaller street tree to be placed there than the large hardwood that's growing there.
All right, I
So I don't
checked the code this afternoon after I got your text, Trustee Cormos, and you're correct. It's not clear whether the board has to approve these things or whether, or how the board wants to handle it. If the board wants to consider all recommendations from the Park and Tree Board and vote on them as motions, they certainly can. If they want me to approve them, I'd be happy to do that. It's entirely up to the board.
It strikes me that it should be in the discretion of the mayor to approve or bring to the board. I mean, it doesn't seem like the board should have to consider every time there's a question about what to do with it. That strikes me as something that the mayor should be able to decide. But if the mayor thinks it's significant, if it's like a prominent tree or, you know, there's some other complexity, then the mayor can bring it to the board. But it does strike me that, like, you know, it's probably not necessary to put all the noise on the agenda every time, you know, there needs to be an insignificant decision about a tree.
I agree.
I think that we making them replace the tree as a requirement. I don't think we should force anyone to end up having to maintain something that they weren't, didn't have the decision to do or not to do. So, I mean, in that regard, if they wish to put a tree in, and obviously they're going to have to maintain it, that, you know, that's fine. But I would not see that as being a requirement.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a street tree. We could, you know, say that we'd appreciate a replacement, but I don't think we should require it necessarily.
And I'm also fine with that, and also with Larry, with what Noah said about you deciding. But this would be, the Park and Tree Board would weigh in on this. So it would be an issue, it would be something between the Park and Tree Board and the mayor, right? Is that the way it would work? Okay.
They would make a recommendation.
They would make a recommendation and the mayor would decide. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so then we won't need a vote on that, and Trustee Cormos, if you'll get me that recommendation. And I would appreciate knowing whether the Park and Tree Board thought that the tree should be replaced or not as part of that recommendation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I will poll them.
Any other business to come before the board tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to public comment. We have 8 members of the public with us tonight, and I think we can take advantage of the raise hand feature. If any member of the public wants to address the board, please raise your hand and I will unmute you. First public comment is from Mandy Ryder.
Hi, Larry, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, this is a little bit awkward since I live right next door. Anyway, I was not at the last board meeting because I had a prior commitment. So this might have been addressed at that point, but I did want to make a comment that I've noticed a police presence around Heritage when I go walking early in the morning, Eastern Avenue, Hyde Boulevard, and I think it's commendable. I'm not sure if they're looking for large groups or whatever, but I think they are out there. I have seen them maybe 2-3 times a week coming down Heritage, down Hyde Boulevard. I always give them a thumbs up. So if you could just pass that on to them, I think it's wonderful that we know, and other people have said that to me, that they see the police cars coming around, and it's very reassuring.
Good, thank you very much. I'll pass that on to the police chief.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other public comment tonight? Yes, okay. Second public comment is from Todd Sand.
Yep. Hi, everyone. 57 High. I just wanted to piggyback on that.
I'm not understanding you, Todd.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to kind of piggyback on the last comment. And since we,
No.
no,
You faded out.
that's weird. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Since we started talking about the traffic on High Boulevard, I
Nope.
have-
Nope.
You're breaking up.
Maybe
Oh.
he could type a question? And then we can
Yeah,
answer
we
it?
could do that. We do have a chat function here, I think, unless they've disabled it.
Q&A, there's still a Q&A function.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but we hear that part, but then when you start, it gets
And that's-
garbled.
That's all you hear?
Nope.
Yeah, it's happening again.
I would suggest typing a question and then we'll answer it.
I seem to have lost video here.
I think everything's going out. I can just send it in an email. I can just send it in an email. Everyone.
Great.
Okay.
I think Gina's next, right?
I don't know what's going on here, but I have lost video.
Well, we can see and hear you fine, Larry.
Okay, well, I can't see or hear you. Did we resolve Mr. Sand's public comment?
I don't think so.
No.
He said he was going to email it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I see another hand from Gina Morosi. You're unmuted, Ms. Morosi.
Can you hear me, Larry?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm a little confused. At the beginning of this meeting, there was a big to-do about amending the minutes from the previous meeting. And apparently there were some changes that were requested. So why weren't those changes just addressed in this public meeting so that we could all hear them? And if there were these changes that were wanted, why were those minutes approved?
Any member of the board want to address that?
I mean, it's not really that interesting, Gina. I think there was a question about, and I don't want to speak for Christine, so because she's the one who made the suggestion, but it was basically a question about to whom a statement would be attributed, and then it was sort of a technocratic conversation after that.
Yeah.
Right, but there apparently, it was said that there were changes that were submitted.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came to the meeting now, those changes weren't brought up. Why not? And I know I can't ask you that. You weren't there. So I'll direct that to Christine or Liz.
Well, because the comment was that they, there was not a change required. We can agree to disagree. It got, I guess, from my point of view, the minutes caught enough of the gist of the conversation. So that's acceptable to me.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Morosi. I don't see any other hands at this time. Is there any other public comment? All right, hearing none, I'll close the public comment session and ask for a motion that vouchers number 20-01771 to 20-002151 and 21-00045 to 21-00279 be audited and the meeting adjourned. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
I can't see you anymore. I think that was Trustee
Noah.
Shaw.
That was me.
Noah, just one thing, nothing from Todd Sand?
He's going to email, he said.
Oh, so we're not waiting for him to do it here. Okay, all right, sorry. Okay.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
I'll second it.
Second by Trustee Raymond. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.